Hi guys, it's Mark Zickery, Mr. Sci-Fi, also known as Mark Zickery of Space Command. And today, as part of our Space Command convention, we have the wonderful, the amazing, the terrific Aungelique Scott, who plays Lieutenant Delaney Chilton and also works behind the scenes to make everything work. So, hello, Aungelique. How are you doing?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm good. Life is exciting. We're moving ahead with Space Command, and we got to see you in Ripple Effect, which was great.
Yes,
And
very exciting.
yeah, and you'll be in Great Solar War and all sorts of stuff. And if Doob ever opens again, we'll have the Lieutenant Delaney action figure, and I'm
That would
looking
be
forward to
so
that.
cool.
Yeah, so we
That
should
would
make
be
that
so
happen.
cool.
Yes, absolutely. In her little action car, and
Oh
with this.
my gosh. We could do something where it's like Lieutenant Delaney Chilton figure with the space car.
Yes, and the balloon thing that floats up where you can fly like it's a flying thing, and there's many possibilities. So anyway, so here we are. So do you want to talk for a moment, Angelique, about how you where you're from and how you got involved in all of this stuff and how
Yeah,
Space Command came into your life and all that stuff?
sure. Of course. Well, I'm from Akron, Ohio, so I'm from the Midwest. And I came into both you and Elaine's life. You invited me to the table. You told me about the round table that you and your wife run, and I had the opportunity of coming. And shortly after that, I started volunteering for Space Command for some of the events. So with Comic Con, I volunteered for that. And then shortly after that, I had the opportunity to show you and Elaine my acting reel and my singing reel, my dance reel. And you guys also knew that I was theater trained, so I have a theater background and have been cast in lead and supporting roles from Shakespeare plays to Brecht to David Mamet, August Wilson, Lorraine Hansberry. And shortly after that, one day you walked up to me and said, I have a role for you in Space Command.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
role specifically for me. And so that is how I came into the Space Command universe.
That's great. That's great. It's been super fun to have you as part of this adventure. And
Thank
of
you.
course, we're doing the Showrunners Network too, so there'll be other possibilities and other roles, and it just keeps going. And of course, we know showrunners and can see what they're cooking up.
Yes.
We can get you in the door. I mean, it's an interesting journey, this life of the artist, where you see where it takes you, and you never quite know what you're going to be up to in a given month or year or decade. So
That's true.
yeah, and certainly life in LA is very different from Ohio, I imagine.
It is. It's very different. Life in LA is very different. But one thing that's very interesting for me is that I've kept the same morals and values from how my parents raised me in Ohio. So when I came here to LA, I still had that same drive and focus. So, and I'm grateful that I've met really wonderful people like you and Elaine.
Yeah,
So, and
yeah,
everyone at the table. So I've been really blessed in that regard.
yeah. Well, I think people often think that they have to become um, evil swine to make it in Hollywood, and that's the opposite is true. The more that you're have a good heart and you stick by your word and you do what you say you're going to do, the better things go, because obviously people want to work with people who are reliable and honorable and all of that. So
And it's like, you always want to just be kind and authentic,
yeah,
but also
yeah.
kindness, I think, goes a long way.
Yes, yes. And now, of course, none of us knew that this pandemic was going to hit, and so here we all are in our little environments, trying to find out how to navigate through that. And so, I don't know if you want to talk about what that's been like over the last few months.
Oh, of course. Well, for me, in addition to being an actress in Space Command, I'm also the coordinator for Space Command. So
Oh,
for me, I've been staying very productive creatively and busy. So um, during the pandemic, I've actually been able to coordinate a lot during this time. So that includes coordinating meetings on you and Elaine's behalf with executives like with Amazon, and coordinating the schedule with the whole online Space Command convention. So I coordinated that with all of the cast and made sure everyone was where they needed to be. So I'm keeping the ball rolling. And in addition to that, we had this conversation. And so thank you again for the advice. But I started my own podcast,
yes.
and I've also started my own production company under Rayleigh Scott Productions. And so during that time, it's been very busy, and I've been having guests on my podcast, which is really exciting, from award-winning casting director Cambria Hankin. And there's a surprise guest for episode 2 that I won't name right now, but I will say that he's a major showrunner and works on Fox
That's great.
shows. So I've been staying creatively productive. I've been teaching myself a lot of things during this time, such as editing. So I edited my very first episode for my podcast too.
Great.
So doing open call auditions and just keeping the ball rolling. So time has definitely not slowed down for me. I've kept things going.
Well, now how do we watch your podcast? How do we find your podcast? Where is it?
Yes, so you can find it on my actress business page under actress Aungelique Scott, and it will also soon be available on IGTV.
Oh, great. Terrific. That's great. And of course, we have to start the Angelique Scott fan club where they can get like downloadable membership cards and, and regular missives from you and all of that.
That's so fun. Well, we have to do something about the clothing line, Lieutenant Delaney
Yeah.
Chilton clothing line, right? That'll be fun.
That, of course. And
You guys know I love fashion.
yes, and it's fun because most of the Space Command officers are named after famous science fiction writers, but you're actually named after 2 famous science
I
fiction writers.
know. That is what is so cool about that.
And, yeah, because
Delaney and
right.
then Chilton.
Yes, so it's Samuel R. Delaney, who was one of my teachers at Clarion, Chip Delaney, and Charles Chilton, who was the writer of Journey into Space in England, a great radio show. And so that was really fun working that out. And it's and there's a lot more adventures to come. We'll get to see action scenes with you and all sorts of stuff. And you have a lovely singing voice, and you can dance. And so there's no telling what we'll see in the future.
Thank you. It's really exciting. So I'm definitely looking, forward to all of the wonderful possibilities in the future. And of course, the featurette, that was really great. Yeah. Working with Nathaniel Freeman, I think he's really talented and a really solid actor. So that was really fun. And that was an introduction to my character. So
yes,
there's a lot more adventures ahead.
Yes. And it's fascinating because even during the pandemic, we're part of a world audience, so people can watch this in Kathmandu or Namibia or anywhere, and I think that's terrific. And and also, of course, the things are becoming much more inclusive in media in general, which is terrific. And so I don't know if you want to talk about any of those things, but it's
of course. Well, I definitely think inclusion and diversity is extremely important, and it's great that that people are having discussions about that with production companies and shows. And when we talk about diversity, it's pretty much everyone. So Black actors, Hispanics, Asian, people with disabilities, along with the LGBTQ community. But for me, as a young Black actress, I've always been really blessed in that I've always been cast in roles that are not stereotypical roles. And I'm also very cognizant of the roles that I do accept.
Yes, exactly. And so moving forward, like for instance, if someone were going to create a terrific role for you beyond Delaney Chilton, like what would be your dream role?
That's a great question. I would say probably Queen Nefertiti.
That's fun. That's interesting.
That would be really, really fun.
Yes.
That would be really fun because, again, it goes back to the cultural roots of royalty and being kings and queens. And I think that's something that's not often, displayed in TV or film when it comes to the Black culture. So I would definitely say, that. I think it would be really, really great to play Queen Nefertiti.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because there's a terrific sculpture of her, a bust of her face, and I've actually seen that in person. It's spectacular.
Wow. Where did you see it?
Yeah, it was on tour at one of the museums, and so I was able to get as close as I am to this computer screen, and it's really astonishingly beautiful. And what I found out subsequently, that the way that piece was used was that they're in the sculptor's workshop, so all of the sculptures could make her look the same in all of the monuments throughout Egypt. That was sort of their model reference head that they used to make all of the other ones. And so that's really
absolutely gorgeous. It's stunning.
Yeah,
It's
and
really stunning.
yeah, so it's neat. So that's a good choice of role. So perhaps someone out there listening will, you know, they'll say, "Thank God, I was just working on my Nefertiti screenplay," and off you go. You never know what what's going to
Never
happen.
know. You
Yeah,
never know.
yeah, and it's also fun because TV now is, you know, much less. I mean, back when I was growing up, you either had westerns, you had comedies. It was very limited in terms of what it could be. Now shows can be almost anything and set in any time, set anywhere. I mean, it's just phenomenal how varied television has become, which is terrific for all of us. You
It
know,
is
so
terrific. I
yeah,
agree. And I love seeing more diversity and inclusion in those different television shows that are currently on the air. And there's a lot of diversity in Space Command too. So it's really great.
yes, and it's fun because you know, Christina Moses is also, of course, in Space Command, and she's a wonderful actress. She's on, as you know, a million little things, as well as being on Space Command. And I think it's fun as our cast get to know each other better and get to become friends and so forth. It's so that's definitely something cool to look forward to, and it's just such an amazing time in our world. I mean. Between the Black Lives Matter movement and losing Chadwick Boseman just a few days ago. I mean, I don't know if you want to speak to those things, but it's really quite an amazing time. Uh, Certainly a tense time, but also a time of great possibility.
Of course. Chadwick Boseman, he was a king. He
Mm,
really was. He was an amazing individual. I had the opportunity of seeing him from afar at the
mm,
AFCO Awards like a few
mm.
years ago. And I just remember he just seemed like such a very authentic and very humble, very kind individual. And as I see the interviews, everyone had so much respect for him. He was such a solid actor. And he was very, again, cognizant of the roles that he accepted. So that's why, even though he is not, here in body, his legacy continues on with the amazing body of work that he created while he was here.
Yeah, and it's great that it's an art form that lasts, so that people will, 100 years from now, can watch his performance as well and be equally moved. And I don't know if you know, I don't know if I've ever shown you this, but I actually own, from when I was a kid, the first appearance of Black Panther in comic books. It was in a Fantastic Four issue.
No.
He's on the cover. I think Stan Lee signed that for me. Stan Lee, of course, created that
Yes,
character. So
Stan Lee, he created that.
because he
Hmm.
shot Stan shot at our studios, at our Space Command studios, so that's how I
Did
met
he
him.
really?
Yeah,
How
yeah,
fun is that? Wow,
yeah.
did you guys take pictures of him
Yeah,
when he was on?
there's a Mr. Sci-Fi video of me with him talking about science fiction. So one can just type in Stan Lee and Mr. Sci-Fi, and it comes right up. So
I have to
he
look
and,
that up for
and
sure.
you would never have guessed he was in his 90s. He seemed maybe like a guy in his 60s. He had such energy and clarity of mind, and just he was just a remarkable man.
Because
And
even looking at interviews from Stan Lee, he seems like he was such a very like fun and positive person.
yes, yes, and I've talked to a lot of people who've worked with him, and they all said he was just a wonderful guy. So that's really fun, and you know, so
Wow,
I mean, so you never know where this journey, this adventure will lead us. You know,
that's so
it's
true.
yeah, it's fun, and you know,
And I
and
wanted to touch base too, but when you mentioned Christina Moses too,
yeah,
she's so talented and she's incredible. I watch her on A Million Little Things, and her character with Regina, she's incredible, and I like the fact that she's also really strong and an activist as well. So she's
yeah,
very instrumental in the whole Black Lives Matter and
great,
everything. So
yeah, and
one day I definitely I've communicated with her via email with coordinating different things, but I definitely hope to meet her in person one day
yeah,
too.
well, she's well, definitely will be, you know, having her back in Space Command, and we've talked about that. And we've also been writing some other projects for her as well. So it just continues, you know. And again, as I've mentioned, our whole goal is to build an ensemble of wonderful actors that we can work with again and again and again in multiple projects. And that's where having our studio, our physical studio, is so invaluable because again, it makes it so much easier to just pick up a camera, grab stuff on the fly, make stuff happen. And even during the pandemic, we did Ripple Effect, which was a 2-hour episode. The actors pretty much shot themselves. I mean, we'd shot your scene with Nathaniel a few months before,
Yes.
but most of the actors, they were just shooting it with their own cameras in their own homes. And it really shows you how creative you can be, and that you don't have to be limited, you know. And as much as we're all kind of in isolation through the pandemic, you know, thank God for Zoom, thank God for all of these. I mean, I know you're in communication with your family back in Ohio, and your
I
sister just
am.
you know,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So that was such a cute photo you sent me of your new baby niece.
Oh,
She's
thank you. Yes, she
really,
is such a baby doll. I love her so much. I cannot wait to meet her in person and just hug her and kiss her. She's just so adorable. I love
yeah,
her so much. So, yes, she's a
yeah.
cutie pie, and she definitely brings the entire family, along with her parents, so much joy.
It's fun. It's fun. So now, when did you first decide to become an actress? When did you get the bug?
Oh, wow. It's always been with me.
Uh-huh.
It's always been with me. Funny story is at the age of 3, I was always around the house.
Hmm.
Um, I would have my little baby dolls and my teddy bears, and I would have like an audience, and I would have the family sit in the living room, and I would put on like little plays just on the top of my head. I would just create stories.
Sure.
And I'm really grateful that I had parents that supported me in that and
Yeah.
nurtured the gifts that are within me. So at the age of 7, they put me in acting classes,
Uh-huh.
and my very first acting class was at Weathervane Playhouse. My very first acting teacher was Sean Derry,
Uh,
and it was such a wonderful experience. It's something that I've always loved. I've always loved acting and storytelling and singing and dancing, all of it. I've loved it always.
that's
So
great.
it's something that's within me.
Yes. Well, no, it's terrific. And again, I'm really glad that you have come out here to LA so that we could cross paths and start
Me
making this,
too.
this stuff together. So it's because it's really fun.
It
And
is
also, of
fun.
course, we went to before the pandemic. We went to England for the meetings we had with the networks back there. You and Elaine and I went back there, and that was
That
again,
was great. As a
yeah.
matter of fact, now that you mention that,
Mhm.
I believe it was last year this time, you and Elaine were in New York on your way, I think, because you
Yeah.
surprised Elaine for her birthday last year.
Yeah. That
And
was
then I was getting my things ready and prepped to take my first trip out to London. So thank you guys again for that. Yeah, it was like this time last year when we were all getting our stuff together for those meetings in London. I
yeah.
do remember that was great. That
Yeah.
was great.
Well, it's a
What a
world.
time.
Yeah, well, it's a world medium now, and so it's really fun to have that opportunity. And as you know, we're going to be having meetings with some of our friends in England, some of those executives in the very near future, and we're
Yes, I'll
still,
be coordinating
yeah,
those.
yeah, and we're
I'll
still
be setting those up.
and we're still pitching to Amazon. And I had a meeting just a week ago with with Joy Brown at Amazon via Zoom. Thank God for Zoom, and
Yeah.
otherwise, God knows what we'd be doing. But
I think Zoom is such a great medium now for everyone because you can see people, you can have your meetings, even though you're not able to meet
yes,
physically in person. You're
yeah,
able to still have those meetings that you would have in person, like when we would have our meetings in person and have lunch and
yeah.
um, various talent and executives. But now the same thing can be accomplished through Zoom, which is
Yeah,
really great.
yeah,
So,
no, it's been the world really has been shifting, and it's going to be very interesting to see once the pandemic is over. Thank God, what
you know,
how it's going to change the way people do things. Because
you
again,
know.
I think all of us have been changed by this experience one way or another.
I think so too. You can definitely feel a shift. Um, I think after the whole pandemic lifts, there will definitely be a different shift
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes. But I'm so glad that people have been coming out in in support of Black Lives Matter, and that it's become that compassion is still active in the world, and because it's just that's the thing that keeps us all alive and going. You have to have hope.
Yeah, you have to have hope and you have to have compassion and keep moving things forward. So
Yeah.
I
well that's,
agree. I
well, that,
agree.
well, that's where TV is so great, because you can really reach people, and you can change people's minds because they get to experience different people on television. They get to be more relaxed with people who might not be like them. I mean, I think that was certainly true with gay culture, where they started seeing Ellen DeGeneres and gay characters on Grace and all those things, and all of a sudden their opinions shift because they aren't as threatened, because it doesn't seem like that alien to them, with all
Yeah.
sorts of people, and
And that's what's so interesting too, I think about with Star Trek, with Nichelle Nichols, even with the first, interracial kiss.
yes,
And having the opportunity to meet Nichelle Nichols even was just, I mean,
so,
when I met her last year when we were at WonderCon, and she was
yes,
just so sweet. And then after that, having the opportunity of course, work with her when we were there at her house for filming. And before we left, she grabbed my hand and she's like, and she looked me straight in the eye and she's like, thank you so much for gracing my home. And I
Yeah,
said, oh my gosh,
yeah,
Nichelle Nichols.
yes, it
And
was very
she signed the picture for my mom, and I gave my
wow.
mom that for a present, and my mom was very happy to receive that. But
Yeah.
yes, I think television, of course, it's a medium that can really help bring about the positive change that people want to see in the world.
Yes. Well, I think it's terrific that the actors we're working with in Space Command and our other projects go all the way from like 8 or 9 years old all the way up into their 80s and even 90s, and that's
Mhm.
terrific because again, you have the sense of the passing of the torch. You know, to be able to work with Nichelle Nichols, as you know, I met her when I was 10 when
I
Star Trek was on the
know.
air, and so to work with her in Space Command was such a huge thrill, and
Mhm.
I think we all felt that, you know, and
Did. It was a
yeah,
huge thrill.
yeah,
And same with Barbara Bain. We met
yes.
her last year at lunch, and we had such a great conversation. And then hearing that she also dances, we really got along great. And then even during the pandemic, having the opportunity to again coordinate with Barbara Bain and you
Yes,
know coordinating with her fans during the convention, all
yes,
of that. So it's really quite an honor to meet some of these seasoned actors for
yes,
sure.
yes. Well, again, you know, it's really such a thrill to be able to not just meet them and be fans, but also to then create new work that shows them off to advantage that we can, you know, we can mix and match, and so you get Mike Harney and Barbara Bain and all these phenomenal actors that we
Yeah.
can all be, you know, working with, and that's just
And Gates McFadden.
sorry about that. So
And also, Gates McFadden too. She happens to be a fellow Ohioan as well.
yes,
So it's really quite fun.
it's really great, and you know, and yeah, I mean, a lot of talented people come out of Ohio, I'll tell you.
They
And so
do. They
yeah,
really do. So it's quite interesting. I mean, Harlan Ellison,
yes,
he's from
Painesville, Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah,
Steven Spielberg,
yes, yes, and
Ohio. Halle Berry.
Dave Chappelle's living in Yellow Springs right now, and Rod
Yeah, so
Rod
see,
Serling Rod
there's a
Serling
lot.
Rod Serling went to college in Antioch, and you know,
He
so forth.
did in Ohio. So Rod Serling, he's
Yep,
familiar with Ohio, and
a lot of
I'm from Ohio.
yep, no, it's great. It's great. And you know, but again, this is where people come to Hollywood for their dreams, you know, and so you get people from all over the world coming here, which is terrific, you know. It's I
It
love that
is.
quality.
And
I mean,
I also really like the diversity
yes,
in Hollywood, and that's something that I've always grown up around anyway is diversity. I come from a very diverse family, and diversity is something that's always been present in my life. So being
yes,
able to come out to Hollywood and seeing diversity again is really a
yeah.
beautiful thing.
What's neat?
Beautiful thing.
What's a great time for TV because again, when I was growing up, you know, there were so few um, actors of color that you saw regularly in television or playing the leads. There was a show called Julia that Diane Carroll starred in, which was one of the first shows with a black lead actress, and but Nichelle Nichols, of course, was really, you know, on the forefront. It was so great to have her in Star Trek.
Was
And again, they would have these great scenes with her singing a song and Spock accompanying her on his Vulcan instrument, and it
I
was just
loved
terrific.
those
Yeah,
scenes. That
yeah, it
was
was great.
great. It was
Yeah,
great. And she had such a beautiful singing voice
yes,
too. And that was such a wonderful episode. I
yeah,
remember the episode you're talking about because they still show it every now and then on
yeah.
TV.
Well, it's also fun because there's one episode of Star Trek called Mirror Mirror where they go to this evil universe, and she gets to wear Nichelle Nichols wears this thing that shows her abs, you know, because
Yeah,
normally, and she's got amazing abs
she
for an
does.
actress of
She
that
has
era.
amazing abs. You can
Yeah,
tell that she was definitely like
and so
working out. She has
yeah,
amazing abs. And she had
yeah,
such a cute outfit that was,
yes, great,
created for her that
yes,
really showcased,
yes, yes, she
her
was.
abs.
Yes, and so it's so much fun that we can watch those TV episodes from the '60s and still enjoy
I
them.
know.
Uh,
It's really quite fun,
yes,
seeing all of the history. And then the time that you showed me, what was it, the
uh
Space Patrol? Isn't
Space
that
Patrol.
what?
Yes, from the '50s.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, from the 50s, you told me about that. And
yeah,
then we watched it, and I really enjoyed that one too.
yeah, yeah,
Invasion of the Body Snatchers as
yes,
well. There's
yeah.
so many great
A
ones.
lot of great.
Prometheus, everything.
Yes, it's fun. It's fun because again, to be part of an art form. See, you know, I always knew that I wanted to be in TV as a writer because it's such a powerful medium. It reaches around the world. It combines acting and writing and music and visual
Yeah,
design and all these different arts together, and it lasts. So
yes.
writing something, a movie that someone wrote in the 30s you can watch now, or something that I wrote in the 70s or the 80s you can watch now. People are still watching these, He-Man or Smurfs or these crazy things I did when I was in my early 20s.
Incredible. Such a fan of those too.
But it's
and
fun.
I really appreciate how you and Elaine always share with me different films from like during certain generations. It's really quite wonderful and fun.
Very fun. It's very, very fun. Well, it's funny because recently during the Kickstarter campaign, I found this big, thick file folder of all these outlines and premises for all these cartoon shows I wrote for, and many of them I hadn't seen since I'd written them, and I'd forgotten how many shows I'd written for. I didn't know I wrote for Care Bears. I mean, or
for Care Bears?
Yeah, and Captain EO, which was this Michael Jackson thing that we wrote, and
wow.
on and on. I mean, just so many, and Spider-Man. I had no idea I wrote for the animated Spider-Man. And
Spider-Man. So you've written for a lot of really great, wonderful
crazy
shows.
Stuff. Yeah,
amazing
exactly.
stuff.
Yes, and but it's fun. I love being in a medium that lasts, so that people can watch Space Command. And I love the fact that now you can have your own channel. I love the fact that people can do podcasts and web series and all this stuff. I think it's a huge blessing, So
it is. And it's great that you have your wonderful channel and that you also share really great content on your channel. So that's really great.
Fun. Well, the fact that I just came across that audiobook of Sphere by Michael Crichton that I read 20 years ago or something, where I read the entire book. It's like 6 hours long, something, and there it is on Mr. Sci-Fi. You can just listen to me reading a book out loud.
I did get a chance to see it and hear it, and the beautiful, aquarium in the back. That was great.
Yes, it's really, really fun, and so so it just keeps going. So I think we're going to have some great adventures coming up, and and Elaine is coming down to say hi.
Yes. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Hi, Elaine.
Yeah, there's Elaine. We're doing with Aungelique. And
hi, Elaine. You look great. Both of you look great. It's been so long since I've seen you guys in person.
She is. Yay.
Oh, I'm happy to see both of you.
Yes, great. Yeah, and we just had our birthdays, as you know. We were up in Morro.
Yes, you guys did. And I was so happy to sing you guys a happy birthday song.
And that was so wonderful. Well, I put that on Mr. Sci-Fi so people can hear your lovely voice.
Well, I certainly wanted to do something, and the chocolates, they're on the way.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Oh,
So, but we look forward to when the pandemic is over and we can all hang out like we always used to.
I know. I think it'll be over definitely sooner than later, but I'm definitely looking forward to this whole thing ending. But what I'm grateful for is that even during the pandemic, I still have, family and community, and that's really important. So I definitely am grateful to be part of the family. So that's really a blessing.
Well, thanks, Aungelique.
We still keep in touch. And we all talk, and we're keeping in contact like by phone or by email. So that's really, really great. And then you guys run your round table every Thursday, which is really important for everyone too, because it's still that community where people don't feel like they're alone. And I remember Elaine and you and I have talked about this, where people don't want to feel like they're alone. They want to feel like they have someone that's there to talk to. So you guys definitely create a great space for people to feel that.
Yes, it's fun. Well, it's really fun, and we're glad that you're part of the family. And
thank you. I'm happy to be part of the family.
I'm trying to find some really pretty baby clothes before we have to end up buying a prom gown.
Sure, for your niece.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that you guys are going out looking for something for my little baby niece. Yeah, she's 3 weeks old. As of today, she's 3 weeks old.
Well,
so yes, my little baby niece. She's just so cute with her little fat cheeks.
Right, we'll have to figure out the Space Baby episode, where
where she's in Space Command.
Yeah, weightless baby.
Where she's in Space Command. Yes, that'll be like the life of Lieutenant Delaney Chilton down the road, where she gets married and has like a wedding with her Mr. Prince Charming or something.
Never know.
And then they have a family.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, it's fun
Well,
working.
we have to-
Yeah, I know. I know. We have a meeting we have to run to.
With Bartlett.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys do? Okay.
2 o'clock.
Yeah.
So great. Well, it's
Oh,
been
is
great
it 2?
talking. Yeah, it's been great talking with you,
Oh, okay.
Angelique. And
You guys too.
yeah, thanks so much for everything. I'm glad
Of
that our
course.
fans will get to share this wonderful conversation we've been having. And there's a lot more coming with your character, as you know, and
Thank you.
many, many more
Can't
adventures.
wait for all the fight scenes. It's going to be fun. Martial arts.
Yeah, kicking
Guys,
people.
you guys know I do martial arts.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
we
yes.
do.
So
I
absolutely.
did martial arts for the very first film I ever did, which was Breaking News. I was cast in the lead, and from that, I had to learn martial arts for that character.
That's
Yeah,
great.
it was about a year training. So
Yeah. Well, so
Wow.
yeah, so we'll have to make that happen too. That'll be
Yes,
really fun.
We need you to kick ass.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, yep. And but
Elaine.
yeah, exactly,
Oh
exactly.
my gosh. Well, you guys have, I'm not going to keep you too long. I know you guys have a meeting, so
Yeah.
have a wonderful meeting, and I'll be talking to you guys really soon. And this was fun seeing you both. Stay
great.
safe and well.
Thanks, Angelique. And we'll talk really soon and have more fun and adventures.
Yes, we will. Okay, bye.
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 See you soon. Bye.